All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Word with Ty Brownlow. I am your host, Ty Brownlow, and remember, no one is worthless, no story is worthless. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I have a couple of words to describe, our guest here, betterment, evolution, empowerment. All right, joining me tonight, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dr. Jacqueline King.
Thank you so much. What an honor to be with you tonight and to share with your audience and, just empower. That's what I do.
All right. One of the words that I just said, ladies and gentlemen, and if you look right behind her, you will see this is, empowerment will be a key discussion, that we're going to talk about tonight. So you are the founder, CEO of Black Women Empowered, also known as BWE. So we're going to refer to it as BWE so that, we just pretty much keep it moving along. But can you talk to us about the genesis of BWE and its mission as well?
Yeah, so about 10 years ago, I started Black Women Empowered in a group on Facebook with about 200 women. And after watching the first episode of Black Girls Rock, and I think everybody remembers that. And so after seeing all the excitement from the women, God spoke to me and said, so what happens after the show? Do Black Girls still rock? Is it over? And so I started Black Women Empowered. And at the time, I thought my purpose was just to go on and to encourage the women every day to first have a relationship with God, to love themselves and love and support one another. So for a very long time, it was just me going in the group, typing encouraging posts and words. But I wasn't getting any responses. With 200 women, nobody was responding. And I'm like, okay, God, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? I don't even know if these people are even reading this, And so all of a sudden, people started interacting. And we went from 200 to 2,000 and growing and growing and growing. So that same group right now is still on Facebook. It has 221,000 women in it. In addition to all of our other groups and pages, we've got at least 5 pages, and I can't even tell you how many groups, but we have a heavy presence on Facebook. We also have a presence on LinkedIn with 200,000 followers. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, and Tumblr. People don't even hardly talk about Tumblr. We're on Tumblr. So we're pretty much everywhere.
Well, first and foremost, let me just say, that reach is, phenomenal. And, as you said, to go from 200, to 2,000. Now, let me just ask, the starting off period with the 200, were these people that you just knew, or these are just Facebook friends that you collected over like a period of time and you just started this group?
Yeah, I started off just adding people that I knew. And then they would, how the groups work. You can invite other people. And so people would invite people and people would invite people and so on and so forth, as they still do. And so the message was positive. So I believe that is why we still grew so fast. And also, I believe that Black women wanted a place that they could call their own. There's really at that time, and now everybody's into the empowerment, but I think we were way ahead of the game. But it gives them a sense of purpose. We can have this, and we don't discriminate. Let me get this straight. We don't care if, you're not Black and you join the group. But the group is primarily for Black women. So if you're offended, if we're saying, stuff that's going to empower Black women, then it's not going to be the group or page for you.
All right. Hey, look, and I mean, look, I'm sorry, people. Sometimes it is what it is. Like, if you want to be an advocate or what have you, we don't mind. But, when there's discussions, pertaining directly to us, then, hey, you can either learn or, just sit back and, watch, so, and hopefully learn, so, oh no, hats off to you. And I totally understand. All right. Um, Now I was looking on your website and I was looking at some of the things that, Black Women Empowered, some of his, missions and, some of the things you have on there, such as like health and wellness. And we'll talk about all those things later. But one of the main things, and I know you all empower people, about, domestic abuse awareness. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Right. So that's something that is near and dear to my heart. And, one thing about it is women, well, people think domestic violence just applies to women, but it doesn't. It can apply to anybody. And a lot of times men don't talk about it, especially Black men, because, you know, who wants to go out and say you are all macho and your wife girlfriend is beating you up? I mean, this is really serious. You don't want to go out and talk about that, but it does happen. So we don't just provide awareness and programs just for women. I mean, anybody can come on the programs that we have. But we've had live programs, and when I was in Greensboro, North Carolina, we actually had a big event, and the mayor was the keynote speaker. But we do whatever we can to support the women, as far as giving out toiletries. Because if you get out of a situation and you have to leave with virtually nothing, you're gonna be starting all over. You're gonna need clothes, you're gonna need toiletries, you're gonna need a whole bunch of stuff. So those are the things that we do through our nonprofit.
Mm, mm. So what about now, okay, first and foremost, let me just say, hats off to you. And you bring up a wonderful, wonderful point. When we talk about domestic abuse or domestic violence, more so we've been trained by the media more, to think, hey, there's a woman in distress, she's being beaten by her husband or significant other or what have you. But as you said, there are situations, domestic abuse applies to everyone,
Hmm.
not just women. There's like elderly domestic abuse, there's like children,
Yeah.
there's like youth domestic abuse or what have you,
And don't forget the LGBTQ,
oh, yes, so
Asian. I mean, it goes on and
like the
on.
list goes on and on and on. So, and that's pretty much, to your point, you're offering these services. What about like for people, in those situations, like, men who suffer domestic abuse from no wives? Because as you said, and I can just attest, being a Black man and living long enough, I'm almost at 50. I've seen some things, man. I know some of these people, who have, been through this. And for the most part, to your point, they don't want to talk about it because they want, they don't want to be labeled as less than, to their inner circle or, the circle they, surround themselves with or what have you, or society. So, what type of services would you, provide for those?
Well, since we don't actually have a house, um, basically our stuff is online. Advocates that can come on and tell you how to get out of domestic situations, provide resources, hotlines, and stuff like that. But like I said, what we can do right now, until we do have the funds to open up a house, we can offer, and we have churches that we've partnered with who give out toiletries and clothing and stuff like that in different locations. But basically, it is counseling and directing people to resources that can help them. Because even if you get out of domestic violence situation, it's highly likely that you're going to go back to it if you don't have any support to sustain. And a lot of people don't talk about that, because if you get out of a woman gets out of a domestic violence situation and then she can't pay her rent or she can't take care of herself, 9 times out of 10, she's going to go back because just out of survival.
Well, look, hey, so, and I'm just going to put my platform out here. I've dedicated my platform to mental health. I am a counselor in training. I'm in grad school, to become a licensed mental health counselor. So I can attest to everything you just said, and hey, it is a sticky situation, but I'm glad that you all at least provide the services of counseling, even though it, hey, we don't have a brick and mortar, but look, we can do it via telehealth or what have you, or, via Zoom, if there's a person you need to reach out and talk to. There's all, we just live in a digital age anyway, so there's many different forms of, communication. So once again, hats off to you. All right. Okay. There it is, y'all. Come on. Now you have something I looked on the website as well called the BWE Safe Haven. Can you talk about that?
Mm-hmm. That is our nonprofit, and that's where our domestic violence actually resides. So that is a nonprofit that supports homeless and struggling women. And so, with the pandemic, Black women and brown women were struggling before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. But it has gotten, 10 times worse. You can't find a job. You're working 2 and 3 jobs, and you're making $5 here, $10 there, and trying to, and in many cases, trying to be the head of the household as well. It goes on and on and on. So we actually opened about 10 years ago as well. We focused a lot on female veterans, and we still do, but we opened up since then, and we help women who just need help. We have paid people's light bills, just sent them gift cards, phone bills, coats, groceries, rent. We've done all that. Now we do that through donations because we don't make any money. So people send us donations, and we give the donations out to those who need. And we do that through partnerships. So right now we have several partnerships. We are partnered with the Rescue Mission of Fort Wayne, which is where I live. And we also are partnered with the Community Harvest Food Bank. And so we provide the funds that we provide to them so they can continue doing the services that they are already set up to do. For me, there's no need to reinvent the wheel, but you can be assistants. I could start my own food pantry, but why? This one is huge. We buy vouchers. People come to us and get free vouchers, and they can go get 100 pounds of food a month. And that's pretty good. And they take the voucher, or their name is on, either they get it virtually, or I just put their name on the list. They go there and go shopping, and that's it.
And well, so let me just say, people, I think sometimes, as you said, try to reinvent the wheel. Like, what can I do that nobody's doing, to get people to come and, to get more involved in this and what have you. And KISS, keep it simple, person. All right. Okay. All right. I'll just say that for the sake of being dignified. All right. Okay. But no, just like, keep it simple. As you said, you partner with like one of the largest food pantries or what have you. So if you can get vouchers, hey, this event is already going on. If I could get you access to it and the things that you need, then hey, that's better than me taking the time to, grow. And not saying that I wouldn't do that, but, the stress and everything that comes along with trying to grow something, organically versus, hey, what, they have this over here. Why don't I just partner with this, meet these people, and, just become, hey, not affiliated or what have you, but just bring these services that you may not have gotten, previous to, you doing whatever over here or what have you. So hats off to you.
And so organizations like that, and they have just about every state. So this is something that people need to think about. They're partnered with Feeding America, and just about every food pantry is partnered with Feeding America. And that's like the largest organization out there that's getting food. So I look at it like this. If, maybe people of color don't necessarily feel comfortable going there. So now you have an organization that you can come to, that you can get the vouchers from us and go there, and we pay for them. We actually have to buy the vouchers at a reasonable cost, but it's really just taking out the middleman and giving you more comfortability.
Now, so, okay, and I'm going to talk more about this question later on, but let me just ask, so I've heard you say that you've had the safe haven for 10 years or more now, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. So, what is it, sometimes people who may want to start, a nonprofit or what have you, the mission or whatever they have is good, but just the execution, going about, okay, hey, I'm going to make this happen. A lot of people want to, be advocates of their neighborhood, but they just may not have the, as I said before, the know-how and execution. What are some of the things that, people really don't understand, about starting a nonprofit, running a nonprofit, and, having that nonprofit be not only beneficial for the neighborhood, but a long-lasting staple? Because as you said, 10 years is nothing to sneeze at. That takes organization, that takes time. So what are some of the things behind it that people may not understand, that you all have to go through?
Well, I think first of all, you have to have a clear vision, and so everything needs to be documented where you want to go. You might not be able to do everything that you want. We started, we wanted a house. We wanted a house for domestic violence. We still don't have 10 years later. But there are people out there who can actually guide you. We have a executive director over our nonprofit management and grant writing. That's really, if you can find somebody like that, because you just don't up and know how to start it, but there are plenty of people that do. Mm-hmm. You can get connect with a consultant that can really get you to where you need to be. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's what I would say is to make sure that you have somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I totally understand it, and I totally get it. And as I said, and let me just put this out there for those, of you who are listening. I'm not saying that do not start a nonprofit or organization, but as Dr. King just said, get you people who know what it is that they're doing. If you know what your vision is, get people around you who can help you see that vision through, correctly, so you can be around, 10 plus years, such as the, BWE Safe Haven. All right. So.
And the other thing is partnerships. Partnerships are so crucial. I mean, when I was in Greensboro, we gave to the disabled veterans. We would go and I would work with students that were in college and even students in high school. We would go and feed the homeless veterans. We did food banks. We did food drives for, I guess if you went on our website, you know that because it's on there. We did food drives for years, and we would do food drives in January and February. Mm-hmm. And that was because after Christmas, everybody's tapped out. So the food pantries are pretty much depleted. So we would have, for 2 months, we would have food drives and we would have different locations where people could drop off food, or they could take it right to, the beneficiary of the food that we collected. Mm-hmm. But the point is, there's so many things that you can do.
That is a key point you just brought up about the food banks, because no one really thinks about right after the holidays, what happens right after Christmas, what happens right after New Year's, okay, so after that, hey, as you said, people are tapped out. They spent money Christmas shopping, maybe taking vacations, what have you, or even staying at home, having events of their own. And, yeah, so hey, January, February, those are crucial months, especially at the beginning of the year. I could just tell you on the mental health side, that's like seasonal depression, time or what have you with the elements, especially here. Like I'm here in Chicago, so I'm not that far from you, but it's like here in the Midwest, it's like cloudy for like months or what have you.
The Midwest is different. I've only been here for 2 years. It is different.
Yeah, well, look, I can tell you, it's different. Like, I mean, it's cloudy here, and that affects like mood and this, that, or what have you. And those are like real crucial times. So, like, the fact that you do have these drives around those times is like key. Because of all of the services that you offer, as I said before, like health and wellness. So, okay.
And we also have. Actually, it'll be at 8:00. We have Dr. Nikisha Hammond, who is a licensed psychologist. She comes on and you saw that, I'm sure, every Tuesday, and she does mental health moments. She's been doing that for, I would say, about 5 years now.
Really?
But yes, they love her because she gives them tips on how to deal with depression, with some of the mass killings. I mean, she's just amazing. She talks about everything. So. Yeah, and they could go back and play them over and over again because when we have live broadcasts, they stay on our platform forever.
Yes. Well, you know what? We'll talk about some of those guests because I see you had on your show Keith L. Brown, who's also a friend of this show, Mr. I'm Possible. And, I've had him on my platform and I already know, the energy he brings. So I could just imagine how that interview was. So, let's talk, a little bit about that because, you do offer these pretty much, as you said, you have people in there talking about mental health and things of that nature. Talk about some of the other videos or, the other things you talk about on your platform as well.
Well, we are actually, anyone knows we are a Christian ministry network. And so typically we have Bible prayer. We try to have it at least 5 days a week. It depends. But that's between 6 and 6:30. That's every day. We used to have Bible study. We don't do as much Bible study as we used to. We do do a lot of interviews. If you notice that I've interviewed, of course, Dr. William Barber, Dr. Matthew Knowles, and plenty others. Keith Brown. Keith Brown actually was a contributor for a good long time on our page. He would do Motivational Mondays. So we've done a lot of people. We have an interview coming up September the 22nd, I want to say, with Dr. Willie Jolly. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Yes, I have.
He was just on the Today Show, and his wife. And we'll be interviewing them about their book on marriage. So we bring people that are, really empowering and doing like amazing things. That's what I like to say. We bring amazing people doing amazing things. Melinda Williams from Soul Food has been on. We've interviewed her twice and doing some stuff with her as well. So it's really empowerment. And then of course, the 24-hour, 7 days a week inspiration with the posts and the videos and so on and so forth.
Okay, all right. Well, look, hey, people, we're going to get you all that good information on how you can watch all these great videos and, get these, empower me, man. I'm sorry. And we're also going to show, how you can get empowerment as well and be empowered and stay empowered, just in the few. So now you just mentioned something about a guest that you had on the show. Now you have a new partnership with, Dr. Matthew Knowles. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So if anyone knows, Dr. Knowles actually was one of our contributors for probably about 4 or 5 months. And he did Empowered Fridays. Anyway, Dr. Knowles was doing Empowered Fridays, and we talked about how we could do something more. So we do have a launch of a BW Business network that's coming up, and it's going to be really nice because you'll actually be able to get coaching from Dr. Knowles and some other famous people. You'll get to share your products, books, businesses, and network with one another, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So that should be launching in October. We also have in the future, a dating site that will be launching as well.
Okay, all right. Well, hey, you know what? Yes, all of that. We are here for all of that, and all of that is needed. For those people who, visit social media, and I'm just gonna say sometimes some of the stuff we see on social media, yeah, we need some guidance, please. So help us. All right. Now I want to ask a question about you being a highly influential Black woman. Basically, how has your professional identity evolved? Because as you said, you have grown your group from 200 to 2,000, so forth, so on, and you have about 5 or 6 pages. You're all over, the place or what have you, via social media. You're like growing this network. As I said, you have a partnership with Matthew Knowles. You've had others on your platform. You're building that this empowerment. So the more and more you build, the more and more you're out here, the more and more people draw to you. How has that, evolved you, from starting out to now?
To be honest with you, I stayed behind the scenes for a very long time. I recently didn't come out. I mean, I came out recently because somebody says, we need to know who was behind this organization. So where people would know Black Women Empowered, a lot of people didn't know it started because I didn't even put my face out there in the beginning. Probably the first 5 years, I didn't even put my face out there because I'm a graphics person. If you look at all the TikTok videos, other than the ones that I'm sharing with other people, I do graphics. That's what I love to do. And I love to be behind the scenes doing stuff like that. But I am coming out. I do have a publicist, as you know. I'll be doing some live interviews and stuff like that. I do have a book out that is on Amazon, a poetry book. And so I'm getting out there. It's different, but I'm starting to get used to it. But it's definitely a change.
Well, I mean, I love it, because as you said, being a behind the scenes person, hey, look, graphics, that's your jam. That's what you do. Hey, anything you need done, this, that, or what have you, I can do it all day, what have you. Man, I can do this till the cows come home. But when it's time to talk about me, well, wait a minute, whoa, now it's a different story because, as you said, behind the scenes, I know what it is I want to put, together or what have you, but okay, and that can be a little challenging in itself sometimes, to, come out like, okay, I started this, I'm the creator of this or what have you, but let me just say, I'm honored to have you here. And, I totally understand because before I started this platform, I was running the camera for my wife for her TV show, for her platform. And I, like you, had no problem being behind the scenes until, it was just time for me to step out and do what I wanted to do and just have my own personal platform. So I totally get it. Now, I've been on your website, as you can see, as we talked about, and I came across a quote of yours, and I want you to break it down for those who just, may have never heard these words or just need some inspiration or empowerment. And the quote goes like this, ladies and gentlemen: "The truth is not always popular, but it is always correct." Can you break down your favorite quote and how that relates to your life's work?
Yeah, so a lot of people want you to tell them what they want to hear, not the truth. And so that's where that comes from. you know, the truth can hurt. It can cause a lot of pain, but you know what? It can't be changed. The truth is the truth. So that's why I say it's not always popular to tell the truth, but you can't alter it. So it's going to be correct whether you tell it or not. So that's my philosophy. It's been my philosophy. I spent almost 27 years at the largest electric and gas utility in New Jersey. And I actually used to have that at the bottom of my email. My boss says, I think that's a little bit offensive. It's not my, he did. I said, I don't care. That's what it is. Tell the truth and then you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. People will take it or they'll leave it, but it's not going to change because you tell a lie. It's still going to be the truth.
Hey, look, I'm just laughing at the fact that, like you're from a boss thought that was offensive. Like, you know what? Maybe that hits home on a certain level that, hey, I'm not saying, I'm not trying to throw shade, but, anyway, I'm just saying. But moving on, because we're not that type of show. Moving on. We talk about leaving empty. We have a term here called leaving empty. And what that means is, look, Dr. Jacqueline King, she's out here doing, her mission, her purpose, her life's work. She has Black women empowered. She has over 1 million followers or what have you, on all her platforms. You're providing these services. You have this nonprofit. You're partnering with powerful people to put you in a position to help more. When it's all said and done, because sometimes people can write our life stories, for us, and they may not write it correctly. 9 times out of 10, they will not write it correctly. Mm-hmm. It's going to be something, whatever. But when it's all said and done, what do you want your life's work or, your purpose to be?
Yeah, so I want people to know that I always operate with integrity, because so many people give up the integrity for many things, including the dollar bill. Mm-hmm. And it's never been my thing. Mm-hmm. I had a woman once that was on my platform. When we hit 1 million followers, we actually had posted 3 million on Facebook. You might have saw the page with the 2 million, but we have, between our pages and groups, it's close to 3 million on Facebook. And she said to me, well, if you can ask everybody for $1, you'll be a millionaire. I said, is that right? I'm good with math, but guess what? That's not what God told me to do. God didn't tell me to do that. I'm not doing that. And she left. She left me. It's okay. I operate with integrity. And to me, if we had more people that did that, we would be in such a better position today.
Okay. Look. Okay, look here. She just gave y'all gospel. In case you don't want to, in case y'all not really listening, she just gave y'all some gospel right there. Because what you speak of is so true. And that's why I presented the question of professional identity, because that entails your, okay, look, I can't be this person, in front of you, and when the camera's not on, and, when the eyes aren't looking, I'm this person over here, and I'm just, doing all these heinous things or what have you. Mm-hmm. My professional identity is a part of who I am. And I have grown to the, point that, hey, this is what I want. I built this with a purpose in mind. And the purpose in mind is to help, not to take. The only thing I'm taking is some of your time. That's the only thing I want from you is your time. And for, I want for, your, evolvement or what have you, in a positive way. not in a negative way. So yes, I mean, if I'm asking or if I'm wanting anything, those are the things that I'm wanting, and in the end, those are things that, evolve us, empower us. Black women empower. Okay. So I did all that right there. That good marketing right there,
Yeah, that's great marketing.
Come on now. But anyway. But no, like, hey, but see, it's the truth. So, and I think when you move with that truth, it speaks for itself. So, okay, there it is, y'all. She leaving it here empty. She taking it, man, integrity. All right, it's intact. I came in this way, I left this way, nothing but positivity. There it is. Okay. So now, once again, for those people who, may want to get in contact with you via social media, websites, this, that, whatever, how can they do so?
Great. So if they want to get on the waiting list to know when we launch our new business network, it's bwebusinessnetwork.com. To follow all of our social media pages, it's behind me, but it is blackwomenempowered.org. Down the bottom, you can click on all of our social media pages. You can't get to all of our groups because it was not enough room. But if you go to Black Women Empowered on Facebook and just type that in, all of our groups will come up. We also have a BWE Obama fan page. I think it has like 300,000 followers. Yeah, we're all over. We got 10,000 followers on TikTok. And so we're pretty much everywhere. And to God be the glory for that.
Hey, come on now. Look at everywhere, y'all. So look, all those platforms, Pinterest as well. For those, look at. Come on now. Like,
did you checked out Pinterest?
Yeah, look. I told you I was snooping now. Come on now. Doctor now. Come on. All right. I mean, look, we do our homework around here. I pride myself on doing it. Look, integrity.
Amen.
Not just talk about this now. Okay. All right. Stop.
You're sweet. Thank you so much. No. But yeah, we're everywhere, and like I said, it is an honor to me to represent, first of all, God, because that's who we represent. But I believe that He has allowed our platform to grow because we're giving back. We are. People actually rely on this encouragement every day. I've had people write me and say, I get up in the morning and the first thing I do is turn on BWE, and just about every day there's a message for me. Out of all of the messages, there's one for me. And that's what it's all about.
So let me just, because, I know we ask all the time, like, well, how does that really make you feel? But seriously, like when you hear those words and when you read these words, and you get these messages of encouragement, from others who are, as you said, like they are really depending on you because, as you said, we're living in times, look, every other day you look on the news or social media, you're either hearing about mass shootings, you're hearing about things that's happening in these schools, school shootings, school mass shootings, or if you're looking like, for other schools, kids who don't have housing or what have you, homelessness, like there's just so much going on in the world. But to have this beacon of positivity every single day, like, hey, you know what? If I don't do anything else, I know this here isn't like anything else I'm going to see or hear throughout any part of my day. Seriously, like, how does that really, like, make you feel? And like, how does that give you like the vision going forward, and expanding that vision, to others who may not have, such a luxury to like, hear those words as of yet?
Yeah, so one thing, one of the speeches that I give is walking in your purpose. And so what I know is that I'm doing exactly that. One thing about your purpose is you would do it whether you got paid or not. That's how you know that you're fulfilling your purpose. And so, yeah, it gives me a great feeling to know that that's what I'm doing. fulfilling. And a lot of people don't even know what they say they don't know what their purpose is, but it's really not that hard to figure out. And it's one of the things I teach on, as well as I'll be doing on the new platform some courses on social media and how to grow your audience and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel really good because I'm helping somebody every single day.
Okay, all right. Well, and you know, let me just drop my little 2 cents in right now. As far as like, you know, like I think it's interesting what you said about people who say they don't know what their purpose is. I think and you know, I think like you, I think everybody knows what it is that they're good at. I just think it's more about like the confidence and the ego of, you know, you putting like that self-doubt to the side, because that self-doubt is very high and you're really worried about how your professional identity you know, like is going to change from who people want you to be sometimes, you know, in their lives or their circles versus what you really should be, you know, in your mind and, you know, the things you want, you know, your needs, your own personal needs. So that's just my little 2 cents, you know, but.
Well, I agree, but here's the thing I tell people. The biggest barrier to fulfilling your purpose and success is fear. And fear and faith cannot live in the same house. So once you get over that fear, I used to be afraid, people don't believe me, but I used to be definitely afraid of public speaking, which, you know, everybody knows that is really probably the biggest fear that people have. And I was.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I just had this fear of getting in front of people. It was really bad. And I know people say, I don't believe it, but it's true. And I had a manager that he ended up being my mentor. I'm going to be interviewing him soon because he climbed to the highest position in the electric company that I worked for. I was gone, but he told me that, you know, he says, okay, you've done everything in your career that I've because he was mentoring me. He said, I've asked you to do, he said, except for public speaking. So I'm going to have you speak in front of the chairman of the board. And I was like, no, I'm not. He said, yes, you are. And so the rest is history. I did it. It was like a 5-minute speech and I was like sweating bullets. And then he had me going around doing speeches all over the place. So I got out of it, but it was fear. I was definitely afraid of public speaking.
Okay, well, hey, you know, and I think sometimes we just need that nudge in the right direction. And once it happens, hey, look at where we are now. Okay, so, I mean, come on now, come on. All right. First and foremost, let me just say again, I have enjoyed. Well, first and foremost, let me say again, thank you for coming onto the platform. I have enjoyed myself. I have enjoyed this conversation, and like this has been very lovely. But I've come to the last question, the question that my show is known for. But I would love to hear your answer to this question. Dr. Jacqueline King, what is the one word that best describes you and why?
The one word that describes me, I would say, honestly, I'm going to say servant. And when I say servant, I mean servant of God. That is my desire to fulfill my service, as in the word, because anybody knows that Jesus came to serve, not to be served, if you are a believer. And so I spend my life serving. It's never really been about me. It will never be about me. Glory to God, I was blessed to have 2 doctorates, a master's, a bachelor's and a certified chaplain. Those are accomplishments that are good, but they don't define who I am. And God called me to serve. So I would say that.
Okay. Pillar, beacon, what have you, I just think, you are a champion. That's going to be my word, for everything that you created, for the platform that you for the platform that you've created to help others, as we just said, you have all these accolades, you have all these titles, you have all this experience, but at the end of the day, if your life's purpose or your life's work is empowering and inspiring others to get those messages, to, hey, you know what, I look forward to coming on here every single day, hearing a inspirational word or getting some inspiration from places that I know I'm not going to get inspiration from once I turn this off. The fact that, you do, food drives and, things of this nature in months that are critical because no one really thinks about the after effect, and you having the inspiration, seriously, of watching a television event and then thinking, okay, this is wonderful, man, don't get me wrong, hats off to, this or what have you, but after I turn this off, then what? Do Black girls not rock anymore? What happens? So, the fact that you have been that champion for that afterthought, because sometimes people can feel as if, okay, we're just afterthoughts now, you know what I'm saying? You've had your, fun or what have you, you've done this, you've done that. Now you've just thrown us to the side. No, you still have a purpose. You still have things you got to do. You still got to march on. There's still a mission at hand because these things are going to come back around again,
Right.
You need to, evolve. You need to be different. You need to show others. You need to inspire. You need to empower those people, that you're going to meet, and everything that you've learned from me, man, you go take that and you rub that off on someone else and you empower and inspire them. And that's how your word, hey, as you said, serve it, but, as a servant of God, hey, I've made all this for you all. This isn't even about me. Champion. Those are my words. Okay. All right. I'm gonna drop the mic on that. All right. But no, seriously, I really thank you for being a guest on the show. And let me just say this, look, I believe in, calling this place home, not only for myself, but for those who are really doing good in the hood, as I like to say, what I'm saying? Hey, you're doing good work, you're inspiring, you're doing this, you're doing that. Whatever else you have going on and you want to come back on and, talk about it, as you said, you have books and things of that nature. You have projects, that you're working on and, they're going to come to, life later on. The doors to Word with Ty Brownlow are open.
Wait a minute. Let me shout out my book, Amazon, Creative Words Flowing, Poetry by Jacqueline King, Ph.D. Look that up. It's only on Kindle right now, and so it's very affordable. But go get that. But no, you've been a blessing. Oh, by the way, we also have Black Men in Power, and we didn't talk about that. I don't know how you missed that, but if you go to Facebook, we've got about 50,000 followers on our Black Men in Power page, and we have a director of Black Men in Power, and they're getting ready to do a really nice series on relationships, single men. So that's going to be really hot. But yeah, I started that too.
Okay. See, now you know what? We've been talking so much, man, I done left stuff out. Okay, all right. But yes, you know what? I also saw that. So my fault, y'all. My fault. That's on me. But I strive to bring you the informative content, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, all right. But
I don't want your men people to think, why she ain't got nothing for the men? You know how it goes.
Oh no, I do know, man, brother, so you just gonna sell us out? No, brother, she has stuff for, us too. I'm sorry we didn't get to it, but Yes, as you just said, yes. Black men empowered as well. Come on, y'all. All right, look. Come together. We ain't here for that division. All right. But no. Once again, thank you for being a guest. And
Thank you.
you know, man, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Word with Ty Brownlow. I've been your host, Ty Brownlow. Remember, no one is worthless, no story is worthless. You can follow me, all social media outlets, Word with Ty Brownlow, or you could just go to my website, tybrownlow.com, get this wonderful conversation, plus other great conversations. Dr. Jacqueline King, we out, y'all. Peace.
Thank you.